This pattern is the difference of squares pattern. Again, you can always do this using the grouping method, but this is more efficient if you can recognize and use this pattern. So here, I wanted to show you a little more about the algebra tiles. So if I have x squared minus 4, I would start by putting my x squared here, and then I would put my negative 4 ones here. And then I need to fill in to make a square because we're talking about squares. So when I fill in, I need it to be two positives and two negatives so that my middle terms will cancel out. Okay, so that's my two positive x's and my two negative x's. So then ultimately, what it looks like is this. And when I factor it out, I get x minus 2 times x plus 2. And it makes a square. Okay. So that's what it looks like with algebra tiles. Now, if we recognize that pattern, we can say x squared can only factor into x and x. Then, since we're talking about squares, we'll take the square root of 4, which is 2 and 2. And then, since we need our outer and inner terms to cancel out, we're going to make one a plus and one a minus. And that's how you factor a difference of squares. Here's another example. Since we're talking about squares, again, first, let's make sure there's no greatest common factor. And there's not. I can't divide out a 2 or a 4 from 81. So there's no greatest common factor. But since we're talking about squares, I can take the square root of 4x squared, and I get 2x. I can take the square root of 81 and get 9. And again, since we need our middle two terms to cancel out, and we need 81 to be negative, we're going to make one a sum and one a difference. And that's a difference of squares.